Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
It was 5-4. It's 5-4. That's the only score that matters in this one. I don't want to hear about what the score was at any other point in this hockey game. Leafs win game 1 of round 2, 5-4. Hanging on for dear life at the very end against the Florida Panthers. 2 goals for William Nylander, 1 for Morgan Rielly, 1 for Chris Tanev, 1 for Matthew Knies, and that was enough. Took 2 goalies. We'll talk about that. There's a lot to get into in this game. Lots of good, lots of bad, lots of just sort of in the middle there that we'll get to. We'll talk about it from a Leafs perspective. We'll look at the Panthers, see what they're doing. We're going to have a great time here on Game Over Toronto. I'm Dominic Jones. With me, as always, got Zach Payne. Zach, how are you feeling after the final horn tonight?
I wasn't scared. Were you scared? I
No,
sure wasn't.
no.
I wasn't scared at all.
I was confident the whole way through that game.
That was, I don't know about you, but that was the calmest playoff win I've ever been a part of. Man, you're listing off like, oh, Nylander scored 2 and Rielly scored and Tanev scored and Knies scored. I'm like, I would hope that's enough to win, man. You score 5 goals. Like, the last time we played the Panthers in the playoffs, we literally did not score more than 2 goals in a game. So the fact that we had 5 and it was this stressful, we got a lot to work through here if the Leafs are going to come out of this series. But super, super grateful to just escape game 1. You take a series lead. Now you can just go back, practice, look at the video, look at the film, and kind of reset going into game 2 to hopefully not whatever the third period was.
Yeah. You got to look at the first 2 periods and go, do most of this for the entire game, and we should be okay. Going into the third, everything felt pretty good. It was the dreaded 4-1, but that's should be a good position to be in. Of course, it's the Leafs. Of course, it's the playoffs. That's not how it always goes. And so then you look at the third period and go, don't do any of this ever again, except for the Knies goal. You can do that again. That we will allow. We will
all
accept.
the goals. You can do that again.
Yeah, all the goals. You can do that again. I mean, let's start with the goals, and we'll start right at the start of the game. Nylander gets his first 33 seconds in. I have to tell you, at the start of this game, I could feel just sort of the nerves kicking in just for me watching it. I can't imagine what they were feeling playing in it, but just for me watching it. I'm feeling the nerves because I'm thinking back to the last Panthers series. I'm thinking back to the Boston series. I'm thinking back to every playoff series that they've ever been in because it always seems to start the same way. There's exceptions to this, but it often seems to start the same way where you go in, you feel the nerves, you feel excited, you feel hopeful, and then they give up a quick goal, and you're left chasing the rest of the game. And so when Nylander scores 33 seconds in, I felt this sort of weight lift off me. Obviously, it shouldn't have because the rest of the game happened, but I felt this sort of weight lift off of, okay, it might be different this time. This might not go the way we've been dreading, the way the pundits have been saying for the last several days that this was going to be sort of a Florida, all Florida all the time, Leafs holding on, eking out a win here and there. It might be something different. I mean, what did you think of that first goal and setting the tone that way, the way Willie did so early?
Yeah, first of all, I have to just chat. We will get to the Panthers antics in a little bit. We'll get there.
Oh, yeah.
I see everyone. I see them talking. We'll get there.
Let's start with the good. Start with the good.
Yeah, look, right away, I picked a great day to wear the Willie Styles shirt. shout out Flow Buds for those who know. I picked a great day to wear that shirt because, oh my lord, literally 33 seconds in, the Matthews line started, which is the craziest part about that, is you score a goal 33 seconds in. It's okay, you scored on the first shift. No, you did not, because the Matthews line had a 21-second shift to start this game. And then, look, man, I gave Berube a lot of flack for this in Game 6 against Ottawa. I gave him a lot of flack coming into this game. Max Pacioretty in on the forecheck. He wins a battle. He gets it to Nylander. Tavares just goes to the net, wins a battle against Seth Jones, boxes him out. And look, we could talk about Sergei Bobrovsky and how he was very human tonight. Great rip by Nylander. He just recognized that, hey, Johnny's in front. I'm going to just rip it and see what happens. Finds the back of the net, and that was the perfect way to set the tone to start this series. And if you want to recall, 2023, game 1, 40 seconds into that game, Austin Matthews gets a breakaway, misses the net. Oh. And imagine if he had scored that, right?
Yeah.
This time, you get the early chance and you score. So just complete vibe reversal in all aspects.
Mm-hmm. And the Leafs pretty much dominate the first. Seth Jones does get a goal, but Nylander gets one before he does. Riley gets one right after he does. I mean, what's the big takeaway from the first? Like we were talking about, if you're gonna rewatch the tape, if you're the Leafs, what are you looking at the first period and going, do that besides score?
Quite literally the exact opposite of what I expected in this series. I thought the 5-on-5 would be like maybe 55-60% in favor of Florida. Toronto like genuinely dominated 5-on-5 in the first period. Like they were unbelievable. The only chances the Panthers got, they had one chance off of McCabe or Carlo, I can't remember who, couldn't fight through a pick, and Verhaeghe rips a shot off Stoley's mask. That whatever, like the other team's going to get shots, and then the power plays. Now, I guess we should talk. We're talking chronologically.
Yeah.
So, the too many men penalty that happens later in the period, that is the dumbest penalty the Leafs mentally could have taken. Like, you have the puck on the power play behind your own net, and there's no pressure, and you manage to take a too many men. I don't know how.
Yeah, that was,
however,
awful.
That was awful. But the other one was awful in a completely different way. Because Brad Marchand, who Leaf fans just know and love so much,
he's
comes into play.
Favorite.
He's offside. He's offside. Okay, plays dead. You know, he sees Pontus Holmberg. I'm gonna give him a little chicken wing, like just in the back. Nothing dirty. Not anything wild at all. Oh, Brandon Carlo's gonna give him a little shoulder, whatever. And Max Domi just skates over to be like, "Hey, Brad, you remember me? I'm going to be in your grill all series." And I don't know which ref called it, but all I know is Graham Skilleter, who is a ref that had a notoriously bad relationship with Sheldon Keefe and a major conflict of interest that nobody talked about ever. And Graham Skilleter is known for letting games get out of hand and not calling things, somehow decided that Max Domi cross-checked Brad Marchand on that after the whistle play. I am waiting. I shame on the Sportsnet panel for this, because I give them credit for talking about Bennett and Stolars and all that. Where was this attention on Max Domi getting a penalty in a Stanley Cup playoff game for skating up to an opposing player and just talking to him?
Yeah.
A cross-checking penalty for skating over to an opponent and just smiling at him. It was the worst call I have ever seen in a Stanley Cup playoff game. I was like, puck don't lie. The Leafs killed it off relatively easily, but shame on the officials for that. And like, it was absolutely horrible.
Yeah. I get like the theory behind, you got to set the tone and this and that, and you want to make sure that there's not any funny business, which is sort of nonsensical because they allow the funny business anyways.
What funny business was there, though? It's not like Domi punched him or anything.
Well, and that's what I'm getting at, is you want to set the tone. You want to say, we're not going to stand for this in the series. Well, somebody's got to actually do something, because he barely bumped into him, and it's a ghost phantom call that should not have been called. And I think if you gave every Florida Panthers fan some truth serum, they would admit to that as well. And I think you don't even need to give them all that much truth serum, because it was clearly nothing happened. It was ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? We have 29 people in here right now, which, by the way, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you hit like and subscribe to Game Over Toronto. I'm challenging all 29 of you. Show me or tell me a play that was a worse penalty than that you've seen in recent memory. Yeah. Tell me, because I can't recall one.
It's bad. It's just bad. It's just bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Leafs. I mean, the Leafs failed to do much with their power play tonight. We can get into that in a little bit, but this was This was goofy. It's not like the Leafs. It's not like the Leafs were, or the refs were biased against the Leafs. The Leafs did wind up with more power plays, but this was dumb. This was just dumb. And Domi does dumb things. This was not him doing a dumb thing. This was just him existing and getting a penalty.
And yes, the Leafs had more power plays. The power play was horrible tonight, and there were some weird personnel decisions later. But I don't know. OKO Digital saying the too many men penalty was a bit off as well, I thought. See, that one, I understand why they called it, because the Leafs had the guys jump over the boards when Nylander was handing the puck off. So that I'm fine with them calling. That's just a stupid line change by the Leafs, but horrible penalty against Domi. But like, the special teams aside, let's get back to a good thing.
Yeah.
The second goal, second Nylander goal.
This is great. Again, it makes you feel like wonderful and warm inside. It's well set up, well executed. Like, no notes. Show him that. Show them that and say, do that again, please.
And you know what's funny is I actually was about to be like, oh yeah, why'd you shoot that? But then the rebound goes right to a wide open Nylander. I'm like, oh, I like that. And
that's why.
Just silky in like inside, like, just beautiful finish. Like you said, no notes.
Yeah. Panthers get one back. Power play goal. Seth Jones. Anything you feel could have been done differently on this one, besides not laying the puck in the net?
So this is a seeing eye shot, which sometimes a defenseman's going to have a very good shot from the point that just finds its way through. But what you can do there is Stoley didn't see it. You've got to do a better job boxing out in front, which is something that reared its head in the third period more. But the net front is going to be very, very important in this series.
Yes, absolutely. 19 seconds later, Morgan Riley. Him and Tavares 2-on-1. He holds on to it the whole way. Rips it home.
It's the longest 2-on-1, dude. Like, from their own blue line.
Yeah, they had it the whole way. It was incredible. And again, the Leafs fan brain of the trauma of all the losses, all the giving up the leads, all of that. So Seth Jones scores and you think, uh-oh, it's about to collapse right here, right now. Riley says, no, we're not going to collapse yet. We will collapse later, but not yet. We will wait until the third period.
It wasn't a full collapse. They won.
Yeah, that's right. It's true. It's true. They never did give up the lead. It's true.
Exactly. So I do want to shout out Matthew saying Willie proves again he's a playoff performer. Playoff Mo and playoff Riley. Whoa, I said the same thing. Playoff Mo and playoff Willie. Those two. I got to admit, in the first round, Nylander put up 9 points. It wasn't until game 6 that I was like, that's playoff Willie. Like,
yeah, I agree.
He had kind of a bad series in the first round, but he was capitalizing on his chances. And Morgan Riley, it was okay. He had a couple goals, which was nice, but he didn't really have that offensive jump. That's playoff Willie. That's playoff Mo. That is what we've been waiting for. That's what we've been begging, Riley especially. That is what we've been begging for. Those two, seeing them get off on the right foot, Nylander a 3-point period to open the second round. Are you kidding me? He's tied for the league lead in playoff points now. Beautiful.
Yeah. Just what you want from him. Just what you need from your top guys. It's terrific. So first period ends, feeling good, 3-1. Second period goes a little sideways in some places, but we'll stick with the positives for just 1 second. Just 1 second. Chris Tanev, much in the same way. Wasn't expecting Simon Benoit to be the hero in any games. I wasn't expecting to see Tanev put up many goals. Certainly wasn't expecting a knuckleballer like that, but it got through. It got in. And to win, sometimes you just need the bounces to go your way. And in that Florida series 2 years ago, no bounces went the Leafs' way. So maybe we got one back for 2023.
Yeah, but I tell you, man, Bobrovsky has two modes. He is either unbeatable or he is downright mid. And we got mid Bobrovsky tonight.
Yeah.
Don't know how that'll play the rest of the series, but I'm very glad that in the game that Bobrovsky looked human, they really lit him up.
Yeah. I have a feeling we'll see elite Bobrovsky going forward.
At some point.
Yeah. I don't think this is going to last, but for as long as it does last, take advantage of it, like you said.
But at the same time, there's a player that chat is alluding to that we also have to talk about later that can tilt the ice in the Leafs' favor when Bobrovsky does start to turn it up.
But the biggest highlight or low light, I guess, of the second period, Sam Bennett elbows Anthony Stolarz in the head. No penalty. Stolarz initially stays in the game, plays another shift. There's a commercial break. He goes to the bench, pukes. In comes Joe Woll. Look, Woll was in net for the near collapse, but this is a tough situation for him to come in. He handled, I think, the back half of the second period very well. There were a couple of, Florida did try to make a push at a couple points, and he handled that as well as he could. But this is a tough situation to come into. I don't want to get into the, if this were any other team, if Bennett played for the Leafs, I don't want to get into that. But any reasonable league would take a look at that elbow after the fact and give serious consideration to supplemental discipline. Whether or not that takes the form of a suspension, a fine, or even if they just decide, it's fine, but that's got to be looked at. I'm trying not to be a homer here, but you got to at least look at that. That did not feel right. It could have been an accident. It might not have been, though. What do you think?
It was not an accident. Look, whether or not this is a suspendable play, that's not for me to decide. The NHL player safety absolutely needs to look at this, have a hearing, look at this, and if they want to suspend, fine, whatever. I don't care. That being said, what do we know about Sam Bennett? Sam Bennett is he is basically, I don't want to say dirty, but he really pushes that line. And Sam Bennett, this is the thing. We talked about coming to the series. Oh, the Panthers are going to try to draw you into the muck after the whistles in between. You don't need the Leafs to engage in that. That's pointless. This is what the actual test is, though, physically. Sam Bennett and Matthew Tkachuk, this is what they're going to do. They're just going to push that line. Hey, what can I get away with? Hey, I'm just going to drive the net, maybe stick a little chicken wing out, hit your goalie in the head. What are you going to do about it? Nothing? Okay, then what can I get away with next game? So this is the test for me. Somebody in game 2, I do not care who. I don't care if it's Austin Matthews down to Callie Yarncroke. Somebody in this lineup has to go Sam Bennett and say, hey, you're not getting away with that shit. We are going to stand up for our goalie. And the next time you do it, we'll fight you every time. This is, and someone mentioned Max Domi. This needs to be like Max Domi. You are, you had a couple good moments in this game, but this is what you're here for. You're here, if you're going to be the agitator, hey, their agitator just hurt your goalie. Go fight him. I don't care, because Max Domi being off the ice for 5 minutes does not hurt as much as Sam Bennett being off the ice to the Florida Panthers. Yeah. So Max Domi needs to,
and it doesn't hurt as much as Anthony Stolarz being off the ice for 15 minutes or 25 minutes.
Or this, we don't know. It could be the whole series.
Or the whole series.
Right?
Or longer.
We have no idea what's going on with him. If it's a concussion, right? So it's these things are very finicky. So if NHL player safety is not going to help you, you have to stand up for your goalie. You have to do something about it. Whether or not Bennett is playing next game, I imagine he will, because let's be honest, they probably won't look at it because this is not a real league. That being said, OKO Digital puts it perfectly. Bennett should not get the benefit of the doubt on that play. We all remember 2023. Yep. Game 2, he slams Matthew Nye's head into the ice, concusses him, knocks him out the rest of the series. We know that there was a play against the Boston Bruins where Sam Bennett does a drive-by right hook on Brad Marchand, who is ironically now his teammate. Nothing. And now he drives to the net and elbows your goalie in the head while he's in his crease. Should have been a penalty. The ref was looking right at it, but I'm assuming the Leafs players didn't catch it in real time, but you definitely saw a replay of it. And when Stoley's throwing up, I don't care. Yeah. At that point, I don't care if you meant to do it or not. In 2021,
Mhm.
John Tavares gets knocked out by an accidental knee by Corey Perry.
Yeah.
Nick Foligno, I don't care. My captain's laying on the ice. We got to go. Where is that? That's what I'll say.
Yeah, absolutely. The players are clearly aware of it. Matthew Knies is saying in interviews after the game, he says, hopefully the league will handle it and protect our players. I mean, yes, hopefully.
Protect yourself.
Yeah. I mean, if you're the Leafs, is there anything? Is it worth trying to pressure the league in any way? If you're Treliving, if you're Shanahan, like remember when Riley cross-checked Ridley Grigg in the head last year, and Brad Treliving was going to do a press conference. He was going to like go out and torch the league, and somebody talked him out of it. Do you do that here? Do you pull a John Cooper, a Paul Maurice, and you go out there and you try and make a scene about this? Like I wonder if there's
what's that going to do though?
Maybe it gets more attention on it. Maybe it gets more attention on it puts the pressure on the refs.
If Bennett and Kachuk, no, because that'll do two things. One, the refs despise getting called out for making a mistake.
It's true.
So that'd be bad. But two, Bennett and Kachuk want you to focus on this. They want you to get so distracted by the sideshow. This is the real sideshow.
Well, so this
this is where you let scrum after the whistle.
This is where you let like the execs handle it. This is where you let Tree and Shanahan be the sideshow, and the players go off and focus on their own thing.
Or just you got to police yourself. You can't rely on mommy and daddy aren't coming to save you and break up this fight. You have to stand up for yourself and stand up for your guys. Like, I don't think you should be relying on the league here. I think like next time there's a net front scrum, hey Brandon Carlo, you're huge. Go feed him a few uppercuts.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, man. Like I'm sure that is going to be the talking point the next 48 hours.
Oh yeah.
And it will be a little exhausting, I'm sure. But
for sure.
No one's coming to save you. You're locked in hell in a cell with this guy for the next 5 to 6 games, possibly. I don't know, however long this series goes.
Yeah.
So you have to find a way to keep him in check.
Yeah, it's true. You got to handle it yourselves. Third period. This is where things really go sideways for the Leafs. 2 goals, very quickly back to back. I'm not bold enough to try and say these names. I'm not Chris Cuthbert. I can't try on these on these Panthers names. But
I'm pretty sure the first one was Lusterinen, assisted by Lundell.
Yep, and Marchand, because of course. Actually, both of them are assisted by Marchand because of course.
Yeah. And then Uvis Balinskis.
Yeah, those guys. Great names. What was going through your mind when they score these 2 goals less than 3 minutes apart?
First one, like the second goal of the game, I'm like, that was a good tip. Scott Laughton kind of got caught puck watching a little bit. That pass can't get through. Joseph Woll just gets caught going to the left. Like, I don't blame that one on Woll. The second one, that was a piece of garbage goal for Woll to allow. I love Joseph Woll. People know this, but that was not a good look for him.
No, was not. It like I said before, he's in a tough spot, but he's also an NHL goalie. We've also seen him do this before, and that second or third one, I guess we should say, it was rough.
Here, I'll ask you this.
Yeah,
I'll ask you this. Considering Woll came in about halfway through the second period, he had about half the game. Does the excuse that he came in cold and he came in mid-game go away because he went the first 10 minutes without giving up anything and had an intermission to lock in?
It's a good question. I think it's less understandable than if he had allowed these 2 goals in the second period. I do think there is like that rhythm to the game that if you're a little bit off, you're maybe not ready for the intensity of the third period as your, 15th, 20 minutes of the game. That said, NHL goalie should be able to handle this. And, you did get essentially a warm-up at the end of the last period. So, like you said, the first one, just a nice goal. Got to give it to him. Or the second one or third one, however we're calling this. That's the one where you're like, you got to have that one. You got to have that one.
Yeah,
but
that one was bad.
yeah. Matthew Nyes, though, kind of the hero tonight. Bails them out. Breakaway. Beautiful move. Very reminiscent of a moment in the Ottawa series. If he can continue to do this and everything else that he's been doing.
8x8.
Yeah.
He is playing himself into like legit 8x8 territory. So Matt Coronado the other day signed with the Calgary Flames. He signed a 7-year deal for $6.5 million per. He had 24 goals and like 49 points this year. Matthew Nyes, 29 goals, 58 points. So he's going to get more than that. So if it like he's playing himself, the playoff performances, he's really doing good. I think he got an assist too on the Tanev goal because Matthews won the draw, but he like nicked it with his stick as it was going to McCabe at the point. So he kind of stole that from Matthews. But to be fair, Matthews did not deserve a point in this game, as people in the chat have been quick to point out. It's bless him, man. Like that was just everything was going against you momentum wise. Like you could feel the Panthers pouring it on, and then like a lightning rod, Matthew Nyes, which by the way, for how big he is, oh my Lord, he's fast. And
yeah,
another thing we should mention, there was another play in the second period where Seth Jones, it's a race to the corner, and Seth Jones, he sees Matthew Nyes coming a mile away. So he lines him up, trying to land a huge reverse hit. And Matthew Nyes just runs over him. Doesn't even matter that he tried to line up a reverse hit. Sets up Matthews for a grade A chance that, Matthews needs to bury, but we'll talk about that later. Nyes, man, absolute unit out there. And I'm so happy that he's so far, knock on wood, healthy against the Panthers right now.
Yeah, and needs to keep it that way. And that goal does sort of settle things down from a Leafs perspective for a little bit here. They buys them a little bit of time, but Panthers pull the goalie. Sam Bennett gets one back. What was your feeling on the Bennett goal?
What a crazy unlucky bounce. Like Sam Bennett is shooting that along the ice, and it hits Tavares and then Carlo's stick. And then it goes like water bottle popper, like that top mesh part of the net. Just a ridiculously unlucky bounce. But, man, I don't know about you. Like, how much were you sweating down the stretch there?
Yeah. When this one goes in, you're thinking about Winnipeg, honestly, last night. And how they pulled that off.
It up on the broadcast, too.
And they wouldn't let you forget it. And you start to get that feeling. I will say, though, I didn't hate the way the Leafs handled the time after it until the final whistle. It wasn't perfect. They didn't get an empty netter, but they handled it better than a lot of previous iterations of this team would have.
If the Panthers had tied at 5-5, Auston Matthews missing that empty netter from the Panthers blue line, missing an empty netter with no pressure, dude. I better see a video of him at practice spending 45 minutes just shooting it and hitting the net tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh my! No, just from every shot. Like how many times did Matthews miss the net tonight? It was brutal, dude.
It was tough. But like we said, Leafs hang on. They get the win. They walk out of game one with a 1-0 series lead. Feeling pretty good. As we said, you got to get at least one at home. They've done that. We'll see how they handle things on Wednesday. The
bar was don't go down 3-0, so we eclipsed that already.
It's already a little bit better than 2023. Let's move into our second period here. As we do that, just remind everybody, I know we got a lot more people listening and watching live right now. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to Game Over Toronto. We'll be live after every Leafs game, after every game for this series and all the series that come after it, because there will be more. I'm just going to put that out into the universe and try and think positive thoughts. So subscribe to Game Over Toronto and follow the Game Over Network on all the various social medias. You can find all of that at thegameovernetwork.com. All right. We've alluded to it. We've already talked about it a little bit. Auston Matthews, captain of your Toronto Maple Leafs. What the hell is going on? The man had several opportunities tonight. He has what, one goal this playoff series, this whole playoffs?
He has two.
Oh, he has two. Okay. All right. He's got two. Again, we'll point out Matthew Nice has 4. Willie Nylander
Morgan Riley has 3.
Willie Nylander had 2 tonight. So
he has 4 in his last 2 games.
Yeah. What's wrong with Austin? What's going on here?
So we know something. I don't know if it's his wrist or like something is clearly affecting his shot. This has been the case all season. We know this, and you've seen it in his goal totals. You've seen it in how reluctant he is to shoot the puck. Tonight, I have no idea because it wasn't a reluctance to shoot the puck. Bro just couldn't hit the net. There was a great chance that he earned for himself because Lundell, he gets the puck in his own zone, he's trying to break out. Matthews sneaks up behind, stick lift, curls back inside. Marner, little drive-by pick, sets up Matthews for a curl and drag, tries to shoot low glove. Bobrovsky makes a good save. Okay. Matthews later in the game gets another curl and drag shot. Bobrovsky makes a shoulder save. Okay. We said it a few minutes ago. Nyes sets up Matthews in the slot with not a soul near him, and he just puts his entire being into a slap shot. Little too much on it, and he skies it because of that. And then there was another chance on the power play where he just like couldn't get a stick on it in front. Like Matthews, he had to have had like 8 or 9 shot attempts in this game. Probably 2 shots that hit the net. He just was missing the net repeatedly. And like you said, it's your captain. He has not scored a second round goal in his career. He needs to step up, and like we talked about, if Bobrovsky, he has 2 modes. He's either human or he's unbeatable. If you get into unbeatable Bobrovsky territory, then you're going to have to be able to capitalize on your chances when you get them, the really good chances. Austin Matthews owes you at least a goal or 2 over the next couple of games here, games 2 and 3. He has got to find the back of the net, preferably on a vintage curl and drag. He just has to get his mojo back because his scoring touch just is not there right now, despite what else he's bringing to the game. Like, he is doing a good job in the faceoff dot. Great job, even. He's doing a good job defensively on the penalty kill, but he needs to score.
Yeah, he continues to bring other aspects to the game. And like when you're watching him play, when he's not trying to score, by and large, I'm fairly happy with what I'm seeing from him. But as soon as you ask him to put the puck in the back of the net, which is supposed to be his thing, it feels like there's nothing there. There's nothing there. He just cannot. He can't hit the broadside of a barn. It's ridiculous. And yeah, I'm gonna use an old man saying there. It's just bizarre. It's just bizarre. I can't.
We do have an update.
All right,
Anthony Stolarz.
Let's hear it.
He was taken out of Scotiabank Arena on a stretcher during the 3rd period.
That's not good.
And this from Pierre Lebrun. Not that this is surprising. It's just funny. Sam Bennett was not made available to the media post game. We asked for him, but Panthers PR said he wasn't talking tonight.
Of course not. Why would you let the guy who is going to be the
What's
story?
What's he going to say, though, to be fair? Yeah, I elbowed him.
Yeah.
So what?
You know what? If he came out and said that, respect.
I'd actually respect it.
Respect.
I would respect owning that you're a greasy player.
So here's another question. We'll move off of Matthews here. Like the Leafs just barely hold on and they win. Florida, they come up short in this comeback. I got the feeling at the end of the game, neither team was particularly thrilled with how things went. Obviously, the Leafs are more happy because they win. That's ultimately the goal. But you get the feeling that neither team is overly thrilled. What are the Panthers taking away from this? Like, what are they look at this game? If we try and put ourselves in their shoes, what are they looking at this game going, okay, are they looking, okay, we couldn't get it done? Are they looking, they're beatable? Are they looking how are they feeling?
The Panthers, there is not a chance they don't lose an ounce of confidence because you look at this game, okay, Bobrovsky had an off night. You expect him to rebound, but 5-on-5 in the first 40 minutes, horrible for the Panthers, fantastic for the Leafs. In the third period, fantastic for the Panthers, horrible for the Leafs. But more importantly, the Panthers definitively won the special teams battle tonight.
Yes.
So, and if that trend continues, that is a huge boost for them. That'll tilt the ice in their favor. The other thing, they just proved to themselves they can score a few on Joseph Woll. They were winning battles at the net. They were doing a good job creating traffic in front. If you're the Panthers, you have to just look at the third period and be like, okay, we might have lost game one. We got off on the first 40 wasn't good, wasn't our best, but we'll build on the third period and we'll build on the special team success and we'll come out firing in game two.
Yeah. I think that's exactly it. Like I said, I don't think anybody left the ice feeling particularly great. I think if the Leafs had held on to hadn't given up that last goal to Bennett, I think you feel maybe a little bit better. But
yeah, I think the second goal Woll gave up, which was the third Panthers goal, piece of garbage, can't go in ever.
Yeah.
And then one of the other two you would like a save. The first one, the deflection hits him in the number patch on his arm and then gets by him. Yeah, he was left alone in front. It was a deflection. You're moving left to right and the puck goes back to your left. I could give him a pass for that sort of. The Bennett goal, yeah, it's a double deflection. It beats you over the shoulder. Yeah, I can give him a pass for that sort of. But you would like him to save one of those. That being said, I have full confidence in Joseph Woll as we have stuck. Going into the playoffs, I said, look, Stolarz is the game one starter, but I'm fully confident in Woll. Yeah. Coming into this series, there were people in our chat that said Joseph Woll should start game one. So don't you guys better not hide now. Yeah. You wanted this. You wanted Woll in here. And so I'm fully confident in Joseph Woll going into game two because he's proven he can elevate in the playoffs. That being said, you got to win net front battles. You got to make life as easy on him as possible because I will say, compared to Stolarz, for the second period, I actually felt so much calmer in the second period because I was like, oh my Lord, every shot just sticks to this guy. Isn't this so nice? There's no rebounds. But I'll ask you, Dominic.
Yeah.
I people are talking about Stolarz is out for Wednesday's game just announced. I didn't see an announcement that he was officially out already, but I'm assuming he's out because he's in the hospital right now. So game two, let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your confidence level in Joseph Woll?
I'm going to say 7. I would have said 8 before this. I'm going to say 7. I think, as we've said, like Joe Woll a lot, he has been a very good goalie all year, and we've seen him come up big in playoff situations where he's asked to come in unusual circumstances. Samsonov gets hurt in 2023. He comes in, wins a game, comes very close to winning some more. Samsonov loses the ability to play well in 2024. Woll comes in, wins a pair of games, and who knows what happens if he starts Game 7 of the Boston series. If he doesn't injure himself literally on the last play, trying to make a save.
That was so peak Leafs.
Yeah, that was painful. So he's shown that he can handle these sorts of situations. He has also not played for quite a while. He's been practicing.
Days.
He has not, but Stolarz just played 6 games in a row. He was not in the net, so he's gonna, even though he got some time today, he's still a little rustier than anybody else. He's coming in a little colder than everybody else, and so I do worry a little bit that the Panthers might be able to take advantage of that again, which I think is what they did. I do think that's what they did in the third period. Yes, he had a little bit of a warm up in the second, but I do think that they were able to take advantage of that rust still being there. So I remain more optimistic than not in Joe Woll's abilities, but I'm a little weary that maybe the Panthers figured something out with him. Hopefully not, but maybe that's there. And Stolarz was the hot hand, and you were right in the hot hand, and now we're gonna have to try something else out, and that's just it's a little uncomfortable. It's not concerning or anything; it's just uncomfortable.
That being said, we knew that in a world where the Leafs go on a deep run, it was very likely you were going to need both goalies at some point. So look, all of a sudden you win a round, you're in the second round. Hey, you've won 5 games. You've matched the best in the Matthews era. Good job, guys. And you need both goalies that had, what was it, over 20 wins this season. It's the first time the Leafs have ever had that. So
that's a crazy stat. That's one of those stats where you're like, this team is 108 years old. What do you mean that hasn't? It had Terry Sawchuk and Johnny Bauer at the same time. What do you mean this hasn't happened before? I love these guys, but what?
I don't know, man. But look, you have 2 good goalies for this exact reason.
Exactly.
So I think I understand the trepidation with trusting Woll after that third period.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I would give Woll the benefit of the doubt until he proves that he doesn't deserve it, because he earned it based on his other playoff appearances.
And I'll say, I think after game 5 of the last series, when things really didn't go well for the Leafs, if you'd asked me what my confidence in Stolarz was, it might have been a 7 out of 10 right then as well. And he bounced back perfectly fine in game 6 and the first half of this one. So I don't see 7 out of 10 as a negative. I see that as that's mostly mostly positive. Yeah. It's general. We're happy with 7 out of 10.
And like, it's going to be a team effort, right? So Anthony Stolarz, we said both goalies have clear strengths and weaknesses. Stolarz, he's very good squared up to a shooter. He's pretty composed to the net. Rebound control's a nightmare. Joseph Woll, good rebound control. Absolutely elite in tight around the net in scramble drill situations. But shots from distance, a little shaky. Handling the puck gives me nightmares every single time. And as his glove is not that trustworthy as well. So the thing with Stolarz is rebound control can be mitigated by good defense and just clearing the front of the net afterwards. It's a lot harder to mitigate a goalie that just can't stop point shots. See Andrei Vasilevsky the last few playoff runs, especially the one that the Leafs beat them in. So what can you do? Every defender on the Leafs needs to win every single battle in front, clear the lanes, keep the vision lines open for Woll so he can see the shots coming at him. And like, the team knows how to play in front of this guy. I'm not worried about it, but at the same time, the Panthers have to be feeling good given how the third went.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of third period, let's move into our third period here. That was flawless segue. As always, I want to remind you, if you enjoy what's going on here at Game Over and you want to go the extra mile in supporting us, you can do so by supporting Game Over on Patreon, patreon.com/The Game Over Network. You can also buy merch. You can wear our merch around and let people know about it, and also support us that way. The merch is available at thegameovernetwork.com. Click on store. You can check it out. All right, for third period here. And we'll remind everybody, if you're listening live, make sure to put questions you have for us for our overtime period. Put them into the chat. We'll get to them in just a moment. But for our third period, we're going to keep this a little shorter. What's one thing they need to continue to do from this game in Game 2? And what's one thing they need to never do again in Game 2?
Let's start with the good. Let's start with what they can keep up first. The forecheck.
Absolutely.
We have criticized this team at times for being very much a dump and change type of team. Dump and don't chase, where too often the puck, or even just being bad at a forecheck because you outshoot the forecheck, the shot in is too aggressive and the defense gets to it too quickly. Whatever it is, they were fantastic even in the third period. They were doing a great job of getting in on the forecheck, winning battles down low, frustrating the Panthers defense, causing turnovers, and extending the shift in the offensive zone. So I will keep this short. That is, for me, the number one thing to keep going is keep with the pressure on the forecheck.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll add to that. I want to continue to see the defense getting involved in the offense. I don't expect Chris Tanev to score many more knuckleball goals, but Morgan Riley jumping up the way he did. We've seen McCabe, we've seen Benoit OEL guys jumping up, getting involved in the play, adding some pressure that way to what's going on with the Panthers. And I think that has been a real unexpected strength of this team in the playoffs. Remember, they barely got anything from the back end during the regular season, and then suddenly the playoff starts, and all of those guys suddenly realized, all right, we can provide offense too. So that's been a very, very pleasant one. And
been begging for it.
Yeah, and for a negative, I'll steal this one so you can't. Power play. For God's sake.
Up on this one.
For God's sake, score. Just score.
So there's two parts to this.
Mm-hmm.
One is we had kind of an inkling, we had an understanding that the Panthers' hyper-aggressive penalty kill might pose some problems to a Leafs power play unit that enjoys its time and space. We saw that. There was I don't even remember which power play it was. It might have been the fourth or fifth. But the Panthers had 3 guys at the blue line because Marner had the puck up there. Matthews and Nylander were his options, and they were just hounding him, and they forced a pass down low. It outshot Matthew Nyes, and the Panthers got it clear. Every time the Leafs got a shot on goal, clear. They weren't collecting the rebounds. The zone entries were a bit of a problem in this one as well. So that's one aspect, is you just have to be better equipped to handle the pressure that Florida gives you.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2. I don't often I criticize him at my own peril a lot the last few weeks. But Craig Berube, what on earth were you thinking putting Morgan Rielly back on the power play? Nope. Hate that. And not only that, you take Matthew Nyes off, who has been an absolute animal in front of the net and just generally being a nuisance for the other team. Why is Morgan Rielly playing the full 2 minutes? Last I checked, he didn't have the number 8 on his back with the nameplate Ovechkin. So why is he out there for a full 2 minutes? Hate that. Yeah, I want to see the 5-forward unit because that's the best version of it.
The full 2 minutes makes no sense. Put OEL out with the second unit if you're gonna have Rielly with the first unit. I understand the logic behind putting Rielly out there in the sense that you want a defenseman out because it's late and the Panthers have been pressing, and you don't want the 5 forwards getting completely caught with no defense. But at the same time, what has worked best? It's the 5 forwards, and what would be most impactful here, not killing 2 minutes off the clock with the power play where nothing really happens. It would be another goal that would, kind of seal the deal. And the five forwards has shown that's sort of the best version of it. And honestly, on that power play, I feel like the best chance came when Nyes was out with the second unit and he went to the front of the net and Domi ripped the shot.
Domi just shot,
Yeah. And Bobrovsky managed to look the right way that time. So, it didn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense. All right. As we move into our overtime period here, again, last call for questions in the live chat. Zach, where can people keep up with you in between shows?
You can find me on Twitter, Bluesky, and YouTube at ZachPayne41. I've been posting a lot on Bluesky. That's where I do my in-game kind of live tweeting, if you will. So, give me a follow over there.
Absolutely. Check it out. And you can follow me at DominicJ25 on Instagram, Twitter, and Bluesky. And you can also check out my Star Wars podcast if you just search for the Star Wars Underworld. We're talking a lot of Andor these days because that is also happening at the same time as the playoffs, which is both lovely and means that my time is being stretched in every which way. All right, we got some questions in here. Matthew asks, would you replace Pontus for Nicky Bobby, or does he keep hanging out with the Marlies and the rest of the scratches? Luke Venables also asks, would you make any changes? Kind of similar question. Nick Robertson come in? Any changes to the lineup after game 1?
No, because we're almost at my preferred setup here, where I still want McMahon on the second line. But, I'll give Patches credit. He played pretty good in this game, and he laid some thunderous hits on Barkov and on Sturm in this one. So Pacioretty, you earned another game in my eyes. I think Nicky Bobby is just your 13th forward, and if you ever encounter a situation where you can't score, let's say games 2, 3, 4, you score 2 goals or less in all 3 of those, and you need a jolt of offense, sure, you can put Nicky Bobby in. If anyone gets hurt, if anyone not on the checking line gets hurt, Nicky Bobby draws in as a scorer. If anyone on the checking line gets hurt, David Kampf comes in. But I'm pretty comfortable with the lineup. I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, I feel the same way. Robertson's the one guy that you look at and go, should he be in this lineup? And then you ask, who are you taking out, and what does he bring that is missing right now? And look, they scored 5. They scored 5 goals tonight. That you're not missing offense.
Okay, if you want to take Holmberg out, Holmberg is a better checker and better defensively, and also can take a hit. My lord, Mikola ended his existence on a net drive, which fearless from Pontus Holmberg, but he bounced right back up. So I guess he's got rubber bones there. So
yeah,
I don't know, man. Like, it's tough to see because Robertson's just so one-dimensional. It's just tough to draw in unless you really need the scoring punch.
Yeah, and again, like if there's an injury, like you said, it depends on what the injury is. Let's not put it into the universe, but if one of the core 4 goes down, yeah, Robertson's drawing in.
Need offense.
You're not putting David Kampf for them. But like you said, Lorentz goes down, Lawton, Yarncroc,
then Kampf comes in.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
anyone else
than
Robertson comes in.
Yeah, exactly. Similar question here. OKO Digital asks, at what point does Tavares and Pacioretty get too slow to keep up with the pace of the Panthers?
I don't know. The Leafs are trying to grind games to a halt anyways. And look, that duo was good tonight. So I understand the Panthers are a fast team, but you counter that by not overextending yourself offensively. Like, it doesn't matter if you have Connor McDavid out there in terms of speed or Ilya Mikheyev if it's just pure speed, no offense. Like, if you have a guy, if you're battling down low and then, there's a 3-on-2 the other way, not a lot of guys are going to be able to make that up anyways. So just don't overextend yourself. Patches, I don't think you play him the whole game on the second line. You saw in the third period when the Leafs were defending a lead, Bobby McMahon did get the bump. So I think that's the setup. Patches will start the game 2 on the second line. He earns that right. And then if you find yourself down and it's not working, maybe the Bennett line has a better night and they're kind of ripping you in that matchup, then you can switch it up and demote Patches.
Yeah, which is, also basically what happened in Game 6 too, right? Like, he starts with Tavares and Nylander, and then is on the ice with...
It was horrible.
Yeah, but then he's on the ice with Domi and Holmberg at the right time, and, sends us to round 2. All right. Exactly. I think that is where we are going to leave things.
Luke, hold on. I just got to shout this out. We all know the next man up is Hakanpää. You know what? I got scared when Jake McCabe went to the room. We found out it was just for skate maintenance. But hey, Yanni Hakanpää, if any defender gets injured, slide OEL over to the left, and Yanni Hakanpää's coming in, baby.
That was my favorite conspiracy theory heading into the playoffs, is that he was going to start Game 1, or he was going to be in the lineup Game 1, and thus far has not happened. But you never know. You never know. All right, that is it. Game over, Toronto. We'll be back on Wednesday when the Leafs next face off against the Florida Panthers. It's a 7:30 start, this game, because they don't want to do anything consistently, and
this was an 8, so we're getting there.
Yeah,
we're improving slowly.
I've had a personal beef with the NHL schedulers all playoff, and I really want to thank them for starting the game an hour later, the same week that I start working an hour earlier. I really want to thank them for that. That was a real kind gesture.
Well, I do want to ask you real quick just before we log off. What are your thoughts on the Leafs not having a Saturday game in the second round?
It's ludicrous. It's insane. What? Who came up with this? Start the series tomorrow if you have to. Like, what?
It's so funny. They go from playing Sunday this week, and then you have 2 days off so that you can play Wednesday, Friday again.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, what are we doing here? Anyway, somebody gets paid the big bucks to figure that out, I guess. But like I said, Wednesday we'll be back. Game Over Toronto, breaking down whatever happens in Game 2, and hopefully it'll be another win. Hopefully a little less stressful, but it's a Leafs-Panthers series, so that's probably not going to be the case. All right, we'll see everybody next. We'll see everybody next time.
Go Leafs, go.
Go Leafs, go.